Get ready to level up your study routine with this game changing formula. It's seriously one of those, why didn't I think of this sooner type moments. But hey, I finally did just 7 years later. Let me tell you a secret. You don't have to spend the same amount of time studying on each topic. Yes, it's true. How exactly to avoid doing that is what I want to show you in this video. Make sure you stay until the end because I'm going to show you exactly how to apply this study schedule to an actual SPI review tool. Can we be real for a moment? Let me tell you my experience while studying for the SPI exam. My study methods, trash. Effective use of my time, trash. My discipline, now that was pretty good actually. When I was in the testing center, I felt so tense. Questions, I was like, okay, I know how to answer this one. But then I kept on getting Doppler questions, That's where I felt less prepared. When I left out of the testing room, after all of those hours I spent studying, I felt deflated. I felt like, oh, I just know I failed that test. What I think saved me? Being disciplined, at least putting in the time to study daily. Thankfully, I did end up passing the exam. But my experience did teach me a few things about the way that I was studying. I learned that my biggest mistake was not paying enough attention to how the questions would be divvied up with the exam content outlined. So we should be spending more time on the more heavily tested concepts and less on the less tested categories. How exactly to avoid doing that is what I want to show you in this video. First off, you need your SPI content outline, a trusty calculator, and a calendar. We're about to get organized. Now, I spent a solid 2 months, at least 2 months, prepping for this exam. And let me tell you, you have to be consistent. I'd suggest hitting the books 5 to 6 days a week for about 1 to 2 hours per study session. Got it? So let's get to the nitty-gritty. We're aiming for 6 days a week over a span of 8 weeks, which totals up to 48 days. Now here comes the fun part. Mapping out our study schedule based on the content outline. First up, we have the heavy hitter. Apply Doppler concepts, clocking in at a whopping 34%. We're going to multiply the total number of study days, that's 48, times 34%. That gives us 16, roughly 16 days of our study schedule that we need to dedicate to mastering this category. Now we can divide that by the number of weeks in total that we were going to be studying, that's 8 weeks, and that will give us 2 days per week that we should be studying this topic. So let's plug that into our calendar. So that is it for Apply Doppler concepts. Moving on to optimizing sonographic images. That is weighing in at 26%. Let's do 48 times 26%. That gives us 12.48 days. Let's just round up for that one. Optimize sonographic images. 1 day a week for now, and then adjust as needed once we fill in all those days. So we have 8 days plugged in out of our 13. Let's add in 5 more. Okay, so next in line we have perform ultrasound examinations. That's weighing in at 23%. So let's multiply 48 times 23%, and that gives us 11 days that we should be focusing on performing ultrasound examinations. So let's plug that into the calendar as well. Then we have provide clinical safety and quality assurance weighing in at 10% of our study days. So that one's kind of easy. 48 times 10% will give us roughly 5 days. So let's plug in 5 days of our study schedule to be dedicated to providing clinical safety and quality assurance. And last but not least, managing ultrasound transducers at 7%. Back to our handy dandy calculator. 48 times 7% will give us roughly 3 days. We're going to plug in these last few days to manage ultrasound transducers. Now we have our calendar completely filled out with everything we need to study, but keep in mind that you will have to adjust this to however you see fit. If you are struggling with a particular topic, you're not grasping the concepts, I would recommend that you plug in more days to study that topic. I also highly recommend making sure that you include at least 1 day of no studying. No studying. Give your mind a break each week. So that's why I have dedicated Sundays off for this study schedule. Also to note, make sure that you are taking some time to review the basics. I have a section, I guess I can show you now, in my course with the fundamentals. You will have to go over that probably the first 2 days. Just add that in to the first 2 days of the calendar. I have my introduction, the course welcome, within the fundamentals. This has to do with everything math related. That's in the beginning of the Edelman Understanding Ultrasound Physics book, helping you to understand those basics before you move on. I definitely recommend that you plug those in to the beginning. Just remember, these guidelines are just that, guidelines. Feel free to tweak them to fit your own study rhythm, and you can easily create your own study schedule based off this video. However, if you're about that easy button, then I've got you covered. Just click the link in the description box to gain access to this study schedule that I just created. Let me show you exactly how I would apply this study schedule to an actual study tool that will help me to grasp all these concepts that we just mentioned. Here is my study tool that I have created called the SPI Simplified. It uses very simple language to break down these complicated physics theoretical concepts. Let's show you the course. The first Monday, manage ultrasound transducers. I will go to section 4. I would study this video lesson, 18-minute video lesson. I would answer those questions. Then the Tuesday, perform ultrasound examinations. This is in the new content outline by the ARDMS. Here at the bottom, I have course updates for the new content outline. Here I have perform ultrasound exams included in this video, this 30-minute video. I will make sure I reviewed that video. Also, imaging principles and instrumentation, that is definitely included under this detailed outline under perform ultrasound examinations. Field of view, bioeffects, steering, that will be included in the imaging principles and instrumentation section number 5. Okay, next we have optimized sonographic images. I would simply go to section 3, physical principles in optimizing sonographic images. I would study this lesson. Over an hour of video lessons I would review that day and 15 questions that I would go through. Then apply Doppler concepts. For Thursday and Friday of that week, I would be going over this section, which contains a ton of information, at least an hour, and several questions, including an interactive section here. Then again, optimize sonographic images. I would review this section again. Now, is this the only study tool that I would recommend that you use? No, definitely, as I say in my frequently asked questions, use your textbook. Use the Understanding Ultrasound Physics textbook to make sure you get all the minute details that you need to be studying. First things first, you do not need more than 3 resources to study. Don't confuse yourself with more than 3 study tools that you're going to be using on a regular basis. These 3 resources ideally would serve 3 different purposes for you. Number 1, it should teach you the basics for that registry exam. Number 2, it should help you review the material with the use of review questions. Number 3, which would be a bonus sometimes, it should have real life application so that you're ready to apply what you're learning to the real world. Now, use whatever resources work for you and that have some good reviews, some people that have found that it helped them to pass the exam. I hope this video gave you some clarity on where to start. So stay tuned for more tips and tricks, including how to apply this method to other exams. I hope you found this video helpful, and please give this video a thumbs up. Catch you in the next video.